All right, so Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones, released in 1969 off the Let It Bleed album. And this is just such an iconic song. And the guitar playing, in fact, the whole intro is so recognizable. You know, as soon as you hear that, it's like, man, the mood is so strong. And all these guitar parts are played by Keith Richards. Mick Taylor wasn't quite in the band yet, although he did play in a couple of tracks on Let It Bleed. He didn't play on this one. So anyways, let's get into it. I'll go over the lead parts that I did in my demo later on, but most of this lesson will be for the rhythm. And because it's so iconic, I'm going to try and get it note for note, although, you know, Keith would never play this the same way twice. And if you look at live videos of him playing today, he doesn't even do it. They don't even do it in open E. They just do it in standard tuning. And he just kind of mucks around with C sharp power chord, B power chord, and A power chord, with just putting on that little suspension that he does, that sus4, right? But how he's playing it today live is not even close to what it is on the record. All right, so I'm attempting to get what's on the record. All right, we're going to start like this. So we're up on the 9th fret. We're going to bar there, and it's going to be A and D string. Those are your first two notes. And then we're going to hammer this on, which is D11 and G10. Upstroke on that G, down on the D. Then take our third finger off and just go A, D, G. All right? Now we're going to slide this whole thing down and we're going to go. All right? Again, we're going to A, D string, but now on the 7th fret. So together, one more time. Now we're going to go down 2 more frets and we're going to go. So we're just, we've got the D string and the G string on the 7th. Bouncing off of that D note on, well, actually, it's not a D note now, it would be an E note on A5. And that's your first cycle. So that whole thing's super slow. And now we're going to repeat, but it's a little different. All right, so that's the same. We've got that sequence. And it's always this way from now on. All right, just that first one is different. So now it's a little bit different than the first one. And then this one is the same. Okay? Really, really cool. So let's do that whole thing. And that repeats, I think, a couple more times. And then we're going to get into so we're just barring there in the D and the G. And we're going up to the 10th and the 12th of the G. And then go down 2 frets, do the same thing. And then we're going to go so you'll notice the first one is the D and G, and then we've got the G and the B, all in the 7th. Then we repeat. Except the ending, I'm hearing that. And then up. And then we're gonna kind of go open and play this bar on the 9th fret, and do the same thing, then open, same thing, and then, right, that's the same, but with the bar, and then right? So just open 5/5, open 7/7, and then sliding up to the 9th, and then we're into the, different to that. Okay, so let's play that whole thing up till that point. All right, that is so cool. That is great guitar playing, you know, really, really cool. And you'll probably find it's really hard on that part of your hand, like I do. That part of my hand is just killing me right now because of all the squeezing on those bar chords, right? Okay, so once we get up to here, it becomes a lot easier. So now we're just going to go. So bum, 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 down, 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 up, down. I'm going to put a little finger on the 12th of the D. And then we're going to do the suspension, which is the A string on the 11 and the G string on the 10. And when we play that chord, we definitely don't want that sounding because that's the major third. We don't want that, okay? We just want the power chord. That's A12. You could also go, you could do them both if you wanted. I hear mostly just that. So. And that just goes on for, you know, a while until we get into the next bit, which is and that starts with open to the bar again, and bum bum ba dum bum bum. And then open. Right, so same thing in those three positions, 9, 7, 5. Then, and the second time, we're going to put that suspension on. The first two, and then. Okay, and that is it. Those are all the parts, and they just repeat. All right, so man, that is such great guitar playing, and it's really, really hard on your hand. Like if you're just playing it once through, it's not bad, but as you practice it, you know, you really feel it in there. All right, so let's do the whole thing quite a bit slower and see how we do here. that's it for the rhythm parts. I'm gonna show you how to do the leads. Like I faked the vocal part in the intro just on my guitar. I just double tracked it, and I'll show you the lead parts in the intro. And over the first verse of my demo, I just played the solo. Okay, so I'll show you those parts now. And keep in mind that all the lead playing is in standard tuning. All right, so now we'll look at the lead parts. The vocal comes in at the beginning, and I just mimic that on the guitar. So that's up here. All right, so we're just up on the 14th of the B, sliding in from the 12th, slide down to the 9th, slide up to the 10th. And that's all there is to that. What I did on my demo is I had a little bit more gain than this. And I just double tracked it and panned it hard left and right just to fill that up. So that's all there is to the that vocal part. And then the actual little lead parts, and these were all played by Keith Richards, by the way. It's here. Between that, a half bend, and that. That's it, really, for the whole intro, except the last lick. Okay, so I'll just go over the licks. I'm not going to call any frets because it's right there. So we're going to start like this. So that's your first phrase, and you have to learn these. They're not hard in any way. The hardest part about stuff like this is actually learning each phrase. So the second phrase. Then. That's when the band comes in, right? That's where you're adding another note. So far, that's been 5 notes. All right, so that's 11, 13, 9, then 12B, 9E, back to the B, then we're in that C sharp minor pentatonic shape, right? Storm is threatening, right? And there's a couple of licks. One of them is in the verse. All right. And then what I did in my demo is instead of leaving the first verse empty, I just played the guitar solo. And I'll show you that now. So that's. Again, it's all just 4 notes, 5 notes. There you're doing that Chuck Berry thing. And then that's really your total Chuck Berry there. And then to finish it up, we're going to go, right? So Keith Richards. So let's do that whole solo. And that's it for the leads. There's other little licks he puts in, but I just covered those ones, okay? All right, so that's it for this one. I hope you get something out of the lesson. I hope you enjoy playing this. It's just such a great song, and it really shows how much you can do with 3 chords. That is literally a 3-chord song. Well, if you take out those suspensions, 3 chords, the chorus, the verses, the chorus, everything, right? And but there's so much expression in it, and I think it's one of the Stones' greatest songs. In fact, one of the greatest rock songs, I think, of the late 60s, 70s period. Okay, like I say, I hope you get something out of it, and we'll talk to you next time.